Hi, good day everyone. I'm Dr. Ghani. Welcome back to this science lesson today. So today's topic, we are covering movement and everything related to movement. So at the end of this topic, you should be able to describe the movement of a hinge joint. And just to recap, what is an example of a hinge joint? Your elbow joint extending one plane, or your knee joint movement in one plane only. Next, you should be able to identify the antagonistic muscles that move the elbow. Antagonistic meaning muscles that oppose each other. And the next thing you should be able to do is explain the role of the antagonistic muscles and the function of movement of the lower arm. And the last one lists the factors that affect the skeletal system severely or adversely. So let's start. Muscles only contract, and they do so to move about parts of the body or to produce movement in the body. So muscles contract or shorten pulling on a bone. So if you have the bicep muscles here shortening, once it is attached to this bone, it pulls the bone, which is this bone. So it pulls. So muscle, when it contracts and shortens, there's a pulling movement on the bone. So to get a bone to move back now to its original position, another muscle is needed to work against the muscle that pulled the bone. So this is where you have your antagonistic pair of muscles coming in, and an example of these two muscles is those that form the movement of the forearm. So your biceps and triceps. Your bicep is this muscle here on the front, your tricep is the one here, right? Bicep and tricep muscles are attached to the skeleton itself, and these are known as skeletal muscles because they are directly attached to the skeleton. At either end of muscles, you have tendons, and the tendons is what basically provides this attachment to the bone. So the origin of a muscle, where the tendon or tendons holds the muscle stationary, meaning that bone does not move, is called its origin. So at the end, the end now, where you have the movement being produced, the tendon that attaches there, that's your insertion point. So example, tendon that attaches here, origin. So if we take our biceps, for example, it attaches here, but this bone does not move to produce movement of the forearm. You have so this is its origin. Then you have the other point of the muscle where the bicep attaches here, and this is the insertion, and this is responsible for the movement. So moving on, contraction and shortening of your bicep muscles. So again, bicep muscles, when it contracts and shortens, this draws the forearm in, causing flexion. This is the movement of bringing the forearm from outward to inward, is flexion. So your bicep is your flexor muscle, and here you have the antagonistic muscle now being your tricep, being relaxed and pulled to become longer. So this is the tricep, so it becomes pulled when here flexes. Moving on, again, you have the opposite effect taking place when the elbow is extended. You have your tricep muscles shortening and contracting now to pull the hand from this position to this position. It's shortening and contracting, and then your antagonistic muscle here now becomes the bicep, which relaxes and lengthens as the tricep shortens and contracts. So your tricep muscle is your extensor muscle, meaning it extends the hand, and the bicep muscle is your flexor muscle, meaning it flexes the hand this way. Muscle tissues is always slightly contracted, and this maintains the position of the body and stops us from becoming floppy or paralyzed. So this slight contraction that muscle always maintain is known as your muscle tone. So your muscle must have the muscle tone in order to hold your body upright. If you don't have muscle tone and you lose muscle tone, your body become paralyzed. Muscle need to be kept in good condition if support is to be provided properly to your body. So factors that can affect the skeletal system play an important role here. So our diet, which provides protein to make collagen fibers, calcium and phosphates, which is used to harden bones, and vitamin D, which stimulates the uptake of calcium and its deposition in bones, is needed in our diet. A lack of calcium and vitamin D in our diet can lead to osteoporosis later in life, which is a bone disease in which there is a decreased bone density, causing your bones to become weakened and more susceptible to fractures. This is one. So there are a number of factors that play an important role aside from diet in causing osteoporosis. So other things that can affect our skeletal system. So let's go into exercise now. So exercise puts strain on bones, and the bones respond by this strain placed on the bones by laying down extra minerals to increase the bone density or harden the bones. This helps lower the risk of the bone becoming osteoporotic. In response to exercise as well, your joints produce more synovial fluid to maintain the lubrication between the joints during exercise. So persons who are obese, the extra weight puts a lot of strain on the body, particularly your joints. Obese people are likely to develop arthritis because of this extra strain placed on their joints. Posture is another one that affects the skeletal system. So posture is the relative position of different parts of the body when sitting, standing or moving. Good posture involves the balancing of the body's weight about the center of gravity in the lower spine, so your lower back. This is maintained by muscle tone. Sitting hunched over like this, a lot of people sit like that, is an example of terrible posture, and that could lead to your spine becoming deformed over a period of sitting hunched. So a better way to sit is upright with your chest forward and shoulders backward. So our next thing that can affect the skeletal system is footwear. So people who wear badly fitting shoes could cause the joints at the base of the big toe to become swollen, and this leads to bunions, or you mostly see that in ladies that wear high heel shoes, and this could deform the feet. Another thing is high heel shoes is also very bad for your skeleton and your posture, because your feet points, so your feet go from flat to basically providing all the pressure to the tip of your toes, and this causes your body to balance by your lower back leaning forward, so like this, and your lower back leaning forward and your upper back leaning backwards. which is a weird posture, but this is also a bad posture and can deform your spinal column, which is an important thing for females to note when wearing on high heels daily. Other points to note, there are 3 types of muscles in the body. So you have your skeletal muscle, your cardiac muscle, and your visceral muscle. The skeletal muscle provides movement of the body. The cardiac muscle is what is responsible for pumping blood around the body, and your visceral muscle, example like the muscle in your gut, moves food along by peristalsis when it contracts. So to end this video, we just have some key points to recap. So flexion is the bending, again, bending, flexion of the arm. The opposite action is extension. Movement at joints is by antagonistic muscle or muscles that oppose or go against each other. The biceps and the triceps are those responsible for the movement of the arm. Biceps is your flexor, tricep is your extensor muscles. And last point, deficiencies of calcium and vitamin D, lack of exercise, repetitive exercise, bad posture, ill-fitting footwear, all affect the skeletal system adversely. So that was the end of the video on movement. Hope it was informative and well explained. Until next time.